Okay, let me just come out and say it. Sound Euphonium is the most underrated piece of media of all time. I know that's a big thing to say, and you could say that about plenty of unsung classics. The reason I say this about Sound Euphonium is this. You look at the spectrum of music anime, and it's always there, but there's usually another show that catches your attention first. I was in the same boat, until I was working on a panel meant to be a crash course of various music anime. I gave it my undivided attention, and I realized why it was always up there with all the others, and going even further than that, why it just might be the greatest one of them all. Sound Euphonium, or Hibike Euphonium, is the brainchild of novelist Ayano Takeda. Born and raised in Uji, she had just finished her debut novel when she was asked in a meeting what she was going to write next. The answer was a novel about wind ensemble, as someone who had participated in it in middle school. There wasn't any grand scheming or planning. Takeda basically just said, I'm gonna write a novel about wind ensemble, give love to my city, and it's gonna be peak. The first and initially only novel was published in Takeda Jimasha in December of 2015. It was successful, so she kept writing. Everyone loved the novel, including Kyoto Animation, who at the time were looking for source material for an anime commemorating their 30th anniversary. Coincidentally, they were headquartered in Uji and wanted this anniversary anime to highlight the area, and Hibike fit the bill. The anime adaptation for Sound Euphonium dropped in spring 2015, and 2 more seasons, 2 movies, and an OVA followed suit. 3 seasons, 2 movies, and an OVA of just good, simple, surprisingly touching storytelling. There's no catch, there's no gimmick, it's as cut and dry as it gets, but that's one of Hibike's greatest strengths. This is High School Concert Band as realistic as you can make it. People that have been in concert band have spoken about this. You don't have to get that experience to get it though. Especially in the first season, the show takes time to explain how wind ensemble is set up, how competitions work, all that stuff. For beginners and those with know-how, nothing is dumbed down but is simultaneously telegraphed to make sense and be enjoyable for all audiences. From small details and practice to the general progression of the ensemble. The uninitiated though will all come in with one question more than anything. What's a euphonium? See, a euphonium is a brass instrument pitched in either C or B flat at an octave below the trumpet. It was invented in 1843 by Summer of Weimar, but its origins can be traced even farther back to the ophicleide in 1817.
Get on with it!
Takeda played the euphonium when she was in band and admits that there was a surprising amount of versatility within the instrument. Now, why does the main character play the euphonium? Well, she wanted to play the trombone, but there wasn't any more trombones left. But she falls in love with the euphonium anyway, and the story coming from the perspective of a girl that plays the euphonium from someone that played the euphonium gives the story and its narrator a sense of legitimacy. As an extra note, when they were coming up with the name after settling on the MC being a euphonium player, they took ideas they had tinkered with and had to ask, what sound does a euphonium make? Well, it resounds. Sound euphonium! The music for the most part was composed by Akito Matsuda, and this man cooked like he was the fucking Iron Chef! You have some of the most uplifting wind ensemble pieces ever conjured up. Covers that are masterfully recrafted into their own thing and everything in between. All the competition pieces, all the covers, the score, perfect soundtracks, no, you don't come across them often, but this one is. Not only does Sound Euphonium sound great, it looks... It's Kyoani, the bar's already insanely high, but with talents like these guys, come the fuck on, we did not deserve this. They take that expectation of the studio's level of quality and refine every detail to make every single moment that much more impactful. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To get the best idea of the inner machinations of what makes Hibike so special, we'll start from the top of the piece. The show gets going from the very first scene. 2 of the main characters are sat next to each other, reacting to the fact that their middle school band earned gold, but weren't selected to advance any further. One's happy with the dud gold, and the other's pissed. This one interaction is integral to Kumiko's character, and shapes every thought she thinks for the entire series. This is how you set the stage for a high school drama! During Kumiko's first moments at Kitauji, her attention is directed to the school's band, welcoming new students with an ensemble. We already can tell that a lot of the band sees this as just an extracurricular, but that's not the case for everybody, both for current and prospective members, including... But it's Taki-sensei, the club's new advisor and conductor, that immediately questions the students if they want to just have a good time or actually be good. A split decision leads to the characters being pushed to pursue something greater, but it's obvious they have a long way to go. Good God. I thought this moment was going to lead to Taki-sensei going full Terrence Fletcher and rip the band, but his reaction to first hearing the ensemble is...
何ですか?これ。
A different kind of brutal.
パート単体でも聞くに耐えないものばかりだと。でもそれでは困るのです。
He's so nice about it though, but the irony of the scene just writes itself. It rubs most everybody the wrong way, yet it sets the standard for how he'll lead the band as their instructor going forward. Actually reaching that standard is accurately depicted to be freaking hard. There's one girl that pushes herself so hard that she can't go any further due to her other commitments more important to her. Stuff like this is an element of natural drama that feels like it was born from the circumstances that prompted it. For everyone else that sticks around, they find themselves all pushing towards the same goal. Strict practices force them to realize the work they need to put in when the students end up going, whoa, what did we get ourselves into? Then not even halfway through the first season, they perform as a marching band and kill it. But it's not just about the band grind, but also the people that choose to take on that challenge. The show takes just as much time to give characters moments to be themselves, less as tropes and more as unique, realized individuals. The beginner doesn't know what it's like to play in an ensemble? Let's give her that opportunity. Let's let our characters do things and spend time with each other without forcing things and make it feel like they're just living their lives. Then, back to the drama of band life where the characters we know better get thrown into that drama. And you know what? They handle it like high school kids. Some people are right, some people are wrong. But they endure it and it all becomes worth it as their trials and tribulations pay off. In one season, Sound Euphonium tells a fulfilling, complete story of triumph, that of the band and its members as individuals. So, immediately after this, KyoAni goes, let's go even harder for season 2. I mean, it's not Pongia 2, but I'll take it. Released in fall 2016, Sound Euphonium season 2 is how every season 2 should be. Taking everything you know from the original season, throwing new things in there, and shaking the foundation you thought you'd firmly established. There's still the goal to make nationals, and advancing from prefectures to regionals is the next step to that. They've still got ways to go before Kitauji can comfortably say that they're worthy of nationals. Meanwhile, more drama looms with some second year wanting to rejoin the band, causing shockwaves and differing opinions among all the people that knew her. Nozomi, the one who led a mass quitting among first years, fed up with the lackadaisical attitude the upperclassmen had, an event that was alluded to as a major moment in the history of the band during the previous season because this whole story is connected. Who would have thought? All the justifiable questions follow suit. Why now? She wasn't part of the band's growing pains this year. Isn't this just bandwagoning? What does she know about how the band operates internally now? Beyond the obvious questions, there's people like Mizore who are still hurt and conflicted by Nozomi's departure. There's an element of personal distress to this whole conflict because there are people who knew her and what she fought for, but also acknowledge that she abandoned the band instead of enduring through that time. When you have this conflict with these layers to kick off the second season, it breathes more life into this show than what was already there, and that's saying a lot. But everyone in the band, as well as the audience, knows that there's only one solution: to stay on the current course of action, focus on perfecting themselves as an ensemble, and ironing out Kitauji's sound. Even though the reality is right in front of them, the other part of this reality is the history and wounds that put this band and its members into the situation they're in today. In spite of that, the band stays on the path that they agreed to stay on, and it pays off as well. We get the first and only full performance of Crescent Moon Dance from start to finish at the Kansai Regional. It is one of the most exciting moments in the entire show, oozing glory, and if you don't like this song, then you're just lying. say you feel nothing here, and you prove to me that you have no soul. Of course they get the W, and of course the band moves to nationals, and they only continue to come together, separate themselves, and improve as musicians and people as a result of the journey. It's like the best pasta dinner you've ever had in your life, and of all the ingredients, the characters are the sauce. There's a lot happening in the show, with a lot of characters adding something to the mix, and at the center of all of it is Kumiko Omae. Listen, the high school anime girl is probably the most overused type of character in anime, and for all we know, the high school anime girl could literally be anything. For all the high school anime girls, Kumiko is the one that is just a girl. She makes casual decisions. Remember why she's a Euphonium player? She was just given it. Why she picked to go to Kitauji? Well, the uniforms were cute, obviously. She didn't even think she was ever going to do concert band after middle school before being roped into it again. She has an opinion on everything that happens by virtue of her position where she views everything that happens from a distance. Yet, like how Taki-sensei asks the band how they'll approach the year, the story asks Kumiko the kind of person she's going to be. This conflict causes Kumiko to reflect on herself, through which she builds a wisdom that makes her a trusted part of the band. Kumiko ends up being everyone's therapist on the grounds that everyone feels comfortable around her, whether she asked for that or not. Those perspectives shape her. The seniors that pick her apart, the peers who bring the best out of her, and eventually the juniors that test what she's learned. The dynamics she's involved with lead to both gradual changes and explosive revelations. Season 1, Episode 12. By this point, Kumiko has seen people that want to go beyond their limit, but Kumiko's own ability is finally questioned by Taki-sensei, which ends up sending her into a tailspin. It takes the entire episode for her to admit what's been bubbling under the surface. Her burning desire grows stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, culminating in an emotional epiphany that brings out a desire in Kumiko that nobody knew was there. Right there, she's brought back to when Reina told her the exact same thing, which makes Kumiko go, oh. While she takes the time to observe, she convinces herself that she's okay at that distance. But what happens in the story makes her go, no, wait, I don't want to stay at this distance. What she's exposed to allows her to value the Kitauji concert band and everything that they as a collective want to achieve. This isn't even a matter of just the band either, but her own relationship with music as well. Just like every casual decision she's made, she's in band all because she wanted to play with her own sister Mamiko, but when she quit due to life getting in the way, things get weird between them. When her family life unravels due to her sister going through it, they both find solace in the ground they built through music, and it becomes clear that even though Mamiko doesn't play anymore, that love for this art was passed down to her. It highlights a generational intimacy for music that reminds the viewer that it isn't just about the pursuit, but how one person can pass down their love for music to another. And for Kumiko, it's about how those experiences stir something inside of her and fill her up, and ultimately, the person she becomes as a result. Her progression across the series is natural, and they're able to make her arc feel fresh with every step to make her character, full stop, one of the greatest anime protagonists of all time. And for everything that she is, I like Reina more. This is an entirely personal thing, but Reina Kosaka is one of my favorite characters in anything. At the start, you'd think I'd be making that up, especially in the beginning where she seems like she's in her own world, distant from everybody, except when she decides to be a Taki-sensei glazer.
Taki-sensei, すごい人だから。バカにしたら許さないから。
Literally at every single opportunity. Please stop. We don't get to see how incredible Reina is right away, but it becomes very clear little by little how deep her love for music runs. In episode 3, having barely seen her interact since entering high school, we hear her play the trumpet with such grace, and it becomes obvious her isolation. A lonely girl playing a lonely piece. And through one scream, she's not distant without reason. She wants to be surrounded by people that want to strive for greatness too. It's not like she doesn't care about the band either. Right before the band plays at Sunfest, tension is running across the entire group. Nobody knows the right thing to say or do for everyone to chill out until... Oh my god, she's such a diva. It comes as little surprise that Takeda was going to make Reina the main character before switching to Kumiko in her more observational point of view, because Reina boasts MC aura. It can rub people the wrong way, and it's one of the reasons she keeps to herself. But Kita Uji forces her to open up and change as well. She'll take more and more ownership of her mistakes as the show goes on, especially in her senior year, where she comes off as strict to her juniors while also taking the time to lift them up, all for the purpose of ensuring they all thrive. From the moment their ideologies clash to their ever-growing bond, Kumiko and Reina's changes over the story might seem minute, but comparing them from the beginning to the end makes you realize how the gears have been turning the entire time. And that's not even getting into the nuances of their relationship.
だからいい子ちゃんの皮ペリペリってめくりたいなって。わかんないかな、私の愛が。
A relationship a lot of people dismiss as Yuri bait, which, Your Honor, this dynamic is so much more than Yuri bait, and I'll prove it in 60 seconds. Now, I'm not outright dismissing anyone who thinks this dynamic's Yuri bait. The signs are there and everyone sees it, including the author of Bloom Into You. That's real. I don't blame anyone for thinking they got duped when this relationship didn't go further romantically. Like, you're gonna put all this in and Kumiko's just gonna have a far less notable relationship with Shuichi? However, after further thought, I like where Kumiko and Reina's relationship goes. This is a unique bond, one where opposites find emotional closeness, but also somebody that challenges the way they see the world and encourages them to do better. Reina taking Kumiko to Mount Daikichi, Kumiko supporting Reina during the audition process, literally all of their one-on-one moments during their third year. These are moments that feel more like an intimate friendship. It's part of how Kyoto Animation made changes to the way the story was told as an adaptation, changes that received Ayano Takeda's blessing. I don't think this dynamic, or series for that matter, should be dismissed because it's alleged Yuri bait, because you're really missing out on witnessing a special type of bond that anybody would be lucky to be one half of. Back to that moment on Mount Daikichi, it's something else. This makes clear what Reina is all about in such a graceful manner. In a casual conversation with Kumiko, Reina talks about wanting to do things that the average person wouldn't. In this moment, and everything else that Reina does, I identify with Reina and her mentality. I'm gonna sound insane for this, but she internally isn't too far off from someone like Mamoru Takamura from Hajime no Ippo. Think about it, they're both driven by ambitious goals that no normal person would dare to dream, much less pursue. In this scene, she talks about how she doesn't find value in being the same as everyone else and wanting to resist being one of those, quote, perfect people. I love this. It's her saying that you can find fulfillment and satisfaction in going down your own path. In this moment, I'm not thinking about anything other than Reina's powerful declaration. 私、特別になりたいの。他の奴らと同じになりたくない? Those words are empowering to me and define a pursuit I also try to live by. Beyond that, it succinctly defines what makes Reina so incredible. Everything she's confronted with is in tandem with that idea, but no matter what, she never backs down. She'll stand by her conviction no matter what. Sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for the worse. It certainly doesn't mean she's perfect, but that she's always striving for something more. Reina Kosaka is special, precisely in the way that she wants to be. At the same time, I like to think that the pursuit of becoming special might just be the thing that brought her to that distinction without even realizing it. Now look at Asuka! Remember a while back when I was talking about how realistic the cast felt? I meant that for every character except Asuka.
さあ、入って入って。Come on, join us!
She is a wild card in every sense of the word. You don't know what she's gonna do, but it's probably gonna be some manner of stunning on everyone else. Throughout the first season especially, Asuka seems like she's doing everything on a different plane from everyone else because she is. It makes her the most entertaining character to follow, and yet for everything she's able to be, season 2 gives us more glimpses of her interior. And it's every bit as complicated as you'd expect. For the way she presents herself, it's very easy to forget that she's just a girl as well. How could people not realize her internal struggle? Because her outer shell is that impenetrable. Underneath though, she's guided by a very personal goal to reach nationals so her estranged father can hear her play, but is chained to her mother who... Yeah, And yet she handles it in the most mature way anybody could. But nobody wants to see her go through this alone or give up on the band because of her personal life, but it almost happens. And who's the person that's able to penetrate that shell? Kumiko. This dynamic shifts from one of the funniest duos to one of the most sentimental. Sure, it's a junior-senior relationship, but it's also one of two true Euphonium players that makes it such a strong bond that both of them need. You end up going from loving Asuka for how fun she is to loving Asuka for how incredible she is on all fronts. Beyond Kumiko and Reina, Asuka gets some of the most attention and treatment, and the show makes every moment you spend with her fulfilling. Keep in mind though, Hibike isn't limited to just these characters. The large cast of characters, regardless of how much time they spend in view, unite to make up one of the greatest ensemble casts in all of anime. Like Hazuki, who is such a spunky side character who's a raw beginner, but what she lacks in skill she makes up for in supporting her friends. Every step she takes into learning the beauty of music is wonderful, and every misstep sucks, but when she finally gets to play in a competition, it feels so good! Midori is a complete opposite with all her experience, but she provides such a cheerful, positive spin on everything that it's really refreshing comic relief. Shuichi's just a guy, but that's not a bad thing at all. It's good to have a bro on board at all times. Haruka as the president during Kumiko's first year and immediately following the schism has so much courage during such a tumultuous time in the band's history that you just have to respect it. Kaori has so much humility, especially when having to go up against Reina, which is a losing battle, but she takes it like a champ, but also represents how much she cares about the greater goal the whole band is trying to achieve. Yuko, look, even though she's the worst character in the show and she's objectively wrong in her stances, she still finds ways to learn from her mistakes and grow, and even though she's still the worst character, she's plenty enjoyable in her own right. I'm much more partial to Natsuki, who, oh my god, I thought she was just gonna be lethargic and sad, but she's easily one of the kindest people in the entire show, actively self-sacrificing, and a level head who gets even more brownie points for bullying Yuko. Speaking of which, characters are often paired up in twos to highlight their differences and maximize their strengths, and them having a partner gives them someone to bounce off and bolster the connections the characters have among each other that much more. Taki-sensei, I love you! Koto, Riko, Mamiko, Aoi, Asuka, Kabe, Tsubame, and who could forget Mizure and Nozo? Name one other spin-off movie that's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Notice how I said spin-off. Released in 2018, Liz and the Bluebird, a film with this insane duo on it, focuses on the relationship between Mizure and Nozomi in their third year as they prepare to play the duet in the titular piece. We have a retelling of the fairy tale that inspired the piece that Akito Matsuda wrote, which might be the best piece in all of Sound Euphonium, but I digress. The time spent in this film really focuses on the fractured nature of this relationship. Two girls that, at least the way they are now, aren't good for each other, keeping each other limited to their potential in ways that they don't really realize. As they come to terms with the truth of their relationship, their sound evolves with it, and only in this film do we get the time to dedicate to two characters and how their lives directly impact how they play. The film as a whole deserves an entire video outside of this. It is a film you can watch without seeing any of Hibike, and you'd still be touched for all it's worth. But watching it in tandem with all of Hibike makes it that much more complete.
But wait, there's more!
2019, Sound Euphonium, Our Promise, A Brand New Day turns the clock to Kumiko's second year where, unfortunately, Yuko's the president. Kumiko transitions into an upperclassman and the things she's learned in her first year start getting put to the test. She has to convince her new underclassmen what makes Kitauji worth being a part of while they all bring parts of themselves, and it causes a lot of conflict throughout this year. But they all endure these growing pains, and the result... It sucks, but there's hope for the future when on the bus home she turns to Kanade, her junior, seeing her passion even in defeat and realizes, yeah, everything's gonna be alright. Wait, Kanade's in this. I adore Kanade! She's such a suck-up bratty bitch, but that's exactly the type of character needed to push Kumiko and reiterate the responsibility she has as her senior. She too came from a band that didn't respect meritocracy and wasn't willing to give it her all. But realizing what this band believes in causes her to buy in as well. And they also bring in more new faces to refresh the identity and makeup of Kitauji. Mirei, Satsuki, Multimu, and Ridika are all fun additions who continue to push Kitauji further into season 3. And then you got Mayu showing up out of nowhere. Stop! I'm getting ahead of myself again. Just give me a sec. Can you tell the show means a lot to me yet? Sound Euphonium is way more than just a run-of-the-mill high school anime. It's a journey about growth and identity. One where its narrative, presentation, characters, and music all unite to say something meaningful. When all these things assemble, its themes and messages become clear. But the theme that sticks out the most, at least to me, is its theme of legacy. This theme is present throughout the entire show. You'll find it presented in so many ways, carefully weaved throughout the entire experience. But there's one moment that epitomizes this and all of Sound Euphonium. And that is when Asuka plays Sound Euphonium to Kumiko. I love this scene, but even more than that, I love this song and what playing it here represents. It's a song that was passed down to Asuka from her father, who in turn will end up passing it down to Kumiko. The generational connection to music I referenced is epitomized here with this warm piece. It being passed down in this way is a reminder that through everything, the heart of this show comes from how it approaches legacy, and it extends far beyond music itself and into how we can shape our legacy. From the schism that fractured Kitauji to the members now that want to build something special to all the new members that buy into that idea. From Haruka leading the band in its new era to Yuko relaying that ambition and Kumiko passing it along too. The seeds planted by everyone involved are paid off in the fruits that grow as a result. Members try to carry this meritocracy to unfathomable heights, and when they're done, pass it along to the next generation. It's something we don't realize the magnitude of until we look back and see all the steps, all the struggle that brought Kitauji here. People tend to discuss legacy after it's been forged, but the truth is, it's something that can be forged immediately with every action you choose to make, how you present yourself, and in what you stand for. You can't really know what your legacy will be, but you can pursue what you believe it should be every moment of every day, and you have it in you to make sure that it's a good one. With this in mind, all you could want is to hear their sound more, and 2 months after Our Promise came out, the announcement for a third season followed. But suddenly, the music stopped.
Japanese officials are still investigating after a man set fire to an anime studio in Kyoto, killing 33 people.
A tragedy that shook the entire anime industry and community to its core. Among the near 36 deaths that day, some of those individuals were people that worked on Sound Euphonium. Production and any other Hibike-related events were put on hold indefinitely. The only thing to do was mourn. I bring this up because when Hibike did come back for season 3, there was a tribute to those who died as they appeared in part of the crowd in the final scene. The crew wanted to make sure those who couldn't see their final performance still could be a part of it in some way. It's a small thing, but it's a gesture that's bigger than the show itself.
ちゃんと回復してからゆっくりでいいんで、もう一回僕たちに京都アニメーションでの力を見せてもらって元気を分けてもらえたらなって思います。
The world would have to wait for the music to play again, but they would wait in solidarity, knowing the soul of the studio would remain in this work, no matter how long it took.
You can't keep getting away with it!
In part of COVID causing even further disruption, we'd finally be back with the OVA ensemble contest. It's the one iteration that has the least overarching tension within it. It's just, okay, break into groups and play in ensembles. Everything in regard to vibes is here, and it's a refreshing return to this series, but merely an appetizer for the masterpiece that was just around the corner. I'm gonna get a little excited about this. Is that okay? Okay, it is. All right. Holy fucking shit, this is the greatest masterpiece of art in the entire world! Sound Euphonium Season 3 is every piece carefully crafted within the story, paying off better than you ever thought it could. Kumiko's now the president, thank God, and by virtue of her new position has to be more involved than anybody in maintaining what her predecessors built and sustaining it for those that succeed her. And she has to figure out what her life is gonna be like after high school? A lot of this stuff really hit home for me and the things I'd built during my college years, and being able to watch this right before my senior year helped me be encouraged to end things right. Oh look, we got new mid-years! At this point, the viewer's accustomed to how Kitauji runs and there's no real need to question it. But there's also the perspective of the new first years that aren't completely on board with how grueling it can be. Especially when you've got someone like Reina enforcing things to a T. Like we're not even 4 episodes in and they're already threatening to boycott the club? Kumiko has incredible, character-defining moments as a result of this and future conflicts in this season that are proof of how the journey she went on as a part of this band changed her. But there's one other character that gets so much attention and becomes one of the best characters in the entire series. And it's crazy because she's only in here this season. Mayu Kurue, a transfer student who also plays the Euphonium and plays it well. Side note, the uniform from the school she transferred from is the same one that Kitauji has on the covers of the light novels. That is just an insane touch. She has all the talent in the world, but is easily one of the most modest characters in the entire series. Mayu just likes playing, and she doesn't want to cause any problems for anybody, so she'd rather just take a backseat and watch everything from a distance. Sound like anyone you know? Kumiko is looking at the kind of person she would have been if Kitauji never shaped her into the person she is now, and she just coasted like she planned to. There's something really lonely about Mayu, and Kumiko has to face that, while also acknowledging that in this meritocracy, Mayu's ability could keep Kumiko from playing a Sully at Nationals with Reina. But like, that's not actually gonna happen, right? Everyone knows Kumiko's the big dog, and even though Mayu's good, there's no way they're gonna rip the Sully right from the main guy.
3年黒江真由さん。
はい。
What the shit, man? This decision sends shockwaves throughout the entire band, and justifiably so. How are you gonna sideline the main guy? That being said, how else would you solidify all the changes Kumiko has gone through than to face this? It's important for Mayu too, who starts receiving consolation from Tsubame of all people, who didn't really talk much until the OVA, but she still has to carry the weight of replacing the president, which like, oh my god, it's like all the people in this show are actually actual people with actual conflicting emotions. Ultimately, they chose this. They all chose this. And everyone has to remember to buy into this system so they all can reach the heights they all want to reach. The drama in this series has always been tense, but it's the final episodes where it all explodes, and this specific conflict culminates in a playoff where Mayu and Kumiko put everything on the line. I'm not showing you the result here. I think it's something you need to experience, primarily because this is one of the best endings in any series ever constructed. The people in charge of the adaptation made big changes that really drove home the points and themes of this series as perfectly as you could. It's fulfilling, it's emotional, it's Yurchenko double pike with a perfect landing. I wouldn't be praising it in this manner if I didn't mean it either, so if you really want to experience the best ending in all of anime, you gotta see it for yourself. As such, I pass Sound Euphonium, this series that gave me so much, down to you. There's no way I could keep this sort of thing to myself, and it makes me wonder if my whole reason for being was just to share this anime with people. Sound Euphonium is an incredible, engaging, life-changing series from start to finish. I don't understand why I never saw people talking about it, even now, because it does everything right. You've got lovely vibes, you've got unfathomably good music, gripping drama, a story and characters that command attention, and a payoff that is second to none. Among all of these things, it has a warm soul to it that sets itself apart from not just any music anime, not just any anime, but any series that I've ever seen. This is a victory in depicting the indescribable soul of music and what it can do to people. I don't know what else I can say, but if you're still not sold after all that convincing, then I'll tell you what, just watch it to prove me wrong. I know if you give it that chance and allow its melody to reach you, you'll realize how warm it is too.